If DNA is the architect of the prison, then our instincts, hunger, the sex drive, the fear of death, they begin to look like the guards. From this perspective, life itself can feel structured, not entirely free, but guided, constrained, directed. There are philosophical frameworks that take this idea seriously. Antinatalism, for instance, argues that bringing new life into existence is ethically problematic because existence inevitably contains suffering, and no one ever consents to being born, so reproduction becomes a kind of gamble placed on behalf of someone else. Then there's ephilism, a more extreme extension, which sees all sentient life as fundamentally flawed or broken. In that view, the biological system itself, driven by DNA, is a chain of errors, repeating endlessly. And then there's the idea of the hedonic treadmill, a kind of built-in mechanism where satisfaction never lasts. Pleasure comes and then fades, desire returns, and the cycle continues. So, even happiness becomes part of the system, not an escape from it. Now, some thinkers look toward technology as a possible way out. Genetic editing, like CRISPR, suggests we might one day rewrite parts of ourselves. There are even ideas about uploading consciousness, leaving the biological body behind entirely, a kind of post-biological existence where DNA no longer defines the rules. Others imagine enhancing the body, extending life, improving cognition, trying to move beyond natural limits. But even these approaches raise questions. If we change ourselves too much, do we lose something essential? If machines begin to guide our thoughts, are we still ourselves? And if we become dependent on technology, are we escaping the system or just replacing one structure with another? So, against all of these, there is a much simpler response, a refusal. The idea that the most direct way to break the cycle is simply not to continue it, not to bring new life into the system at all. From this angle, antinatalism becomes a kind of final exit, not fixing the prison, not escaping it, but preventing new prisoners from ever entering. A quiet but absolute interruption in a chain that has continued for billions of years. By choosing not to reproduce, the cycle stops, at least at one point. No new suffering, no imposed existence, no continuation of the pattern. In that sense, it becomes a kind of boycott. DNA depends on instinct, on desire, on attachment, on social pressure, and for perhaps the first time, a being becomes aware of those pressures and chooses not to follow them. But even this is not easy, because the system has defenses, an optimism bias that makes life feel more bearable than it might be. Social expectations that frame reproduction as success and refusal as failure. All of it gently, or sometimes forcefully, guiding individuals back into the cycle. So choosing otherwise can feel like going against something very deep, almost like stepping outside of what was intended. And from that perspective, the decision to remain childless can be seen as something unusual, a kind of quiet rebellion, or perhaps a kind of ending, a moment where the pattern simply does not continue.